Today we will present about extrusion process. In this topic, there were 5 sections which are intro that will be presented by me, process working by Nazmi, direct and indirect by Afir Azhar, hot and cold by Arif Hilmi, application by Amiruddin, and advantages and disadvantages by Hizwan Haikal. For the introduction, extrusion is a metal forming process in which metal or workpiece is forced to flow through a die to reduce its cross-section or convert it into desired shape. This process is extensively used in pipes and steel rods manufacturing. The force used to extrude the workpiece is compressive in nature. This process is similar to drawing process, except drawing process uses tensile stress to extend the metal workpiece. The compressive force allows large deformation compared to drawing in single pass. The most common material extruded are plastic and aluminium. Besides, it can be done with the material hot or cold.
For the working principle, extrusion is a simple compressive metal forming process. In this process, piston or plunger is used to apply compressive force at workpiece. For the first, billet or ingot or metal workpiece of standard size is produced. This billet is heated in hot extrusion or remains at room temperature and placed into an extrusion press. Extrusion press is like a piston cylinder device in which metal is placed in cylinder and pushed by a piston. The upper portion of cylinder is fed with die. Now, a compressive force is applied to this part by a plunger feed into the press, which push the billets towards die. The die is small opening of required cross-section. This high compressive force allows the work metal to flow through die and convert into desired shape. Now, the extruded part removed from press and is heat treated for better mechanical properties. This is basic working of extrusion process. Next, pass to Afirul.
Next, I will continue this presentation with the type of extrusion process. Okay, for the first, I will explain about direct extrusion. In this process, metal is forced to flow in the direction of feed of punch. The punch moves toward die during extrusion. This process required higher force due to higher friction between billet and container. As you can see in the picture, the extruded product will flow in the same direction and follow the shape of the die when the billet is applied with the pressure. Okay, next. Next is indirect extrusion. In this process, metal is flowed toward opposite direction of plunger movement. The die is fitted at opposite side of punch movement. In this process, the metal is allowed to flow through annular space between punch and a container. As in the picture also, the extruded product flow in the opposite direction of plunger and also follow the shape of the die. Okay, next I will pass to the Arif Hilmi.
Hot extrusion. Hot extrusion is the process that takes place above recrystallization temperature, which is about 50 to 60% of its melting temperature. Next, the advantage and disadvantage of hot extrusion. The advantage are low force required compared to cold working, easy to work in hot form, and the last one, the product is free from stain hardening. The disadvantage are low surface finish due to scale formation on extruded part, increased die wear, and the last one is high maintenance required. Cold extrusion. Cold extrusion are the process that take place below crystallization temperature or room temperature. Aluminum cans, cylinder, collapsible tubes, and etc. are example of this process. The advantage and disadvantage of cold extrusion. The advantage are high mechanical properties, high surface finish, and no oxidation at metal surface. The disadvantages are high force required and product is accomplished with strain hardening.
For the applications, extrusion process is used in production of tubes and hollow pipes. Generally, it is used in structural works in many industries. For example, as you can see, the first picture are tubes and pipes, which are example of product made of extrusion process. And the second picture, which is frames, Another example of applications of extrusion process which is used in our daily life such as door, frames and windows.
All in all, there is advantages and disadvantages in extrusion process. The advantages of extrusion process is it can be done with both brittle and ductile material. It has high mechanical properties, can be achieved by cold extrusion. A complex cross-section can easily be created. Next is the disadvantages of extrusion process. It has high compressive force and high initial or setup cost. I think that's all from us. Thank you.